MAGA Republican leaders are panicking as the American people are absolutely livid at the Trump regime's cover-up of a trafficking ring, as the Trump regime violates the Epstein transparency law, not producing any of the documents essentially that were required under the Epstein transparency law, and the documents that were produced, like 2% or 3% of the file, highly redacted.
Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Wamara. Today we'll be delving into a very serious discussion, one that relates to Mr. Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, atrocities that were committed against the American people in the past, how Donald Trump is reacting to these atrocities, and how his reaction exposes serious problem within the Donald Trump administration. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee and enjoy as we delve into various clips with the right information that we'll then discuss later in this video. Kindly like, share and subscribe for more videos such as this if you like whatever you get from this video.
It's Monday morning and there's a ton of stuff happening in the news, so let's just get right into it. Yesterday, the Department of Justice dropped this fact sheet full of lies about why they are redacting or not releasing material in the Epstein files. They put this out and a bunch of other PR nonsense after they started deleting things, pictures of Donald Trump that they had already released. They also tried to make it look like they were releasing a bunch of stuff in the Epstein files when most of it, maybe half or more, was things that we had already seen. Things that we had seen unredacted that they then redacted. And I think this is a very important part because they removed a picture of a bunch of pictures of Donald Trump on Epstein's desk. And they are claiming, as material is released, the Department of Justice has received incoming from individuals alleging to be victims and their lawyers, requesting that certain information be removed. Out of an abundance of caution, the material is temporarily removed for review and will be released again with the appropriate redactions if legally required. Now, first of all, the other day they were saying that they redacted a bunch of these pictures and took them out after the initial release because the Southern District of New York told them to. Now they're saying that victims have reached out to them and asked them to remove certain pictures, which is wild because the pictures they removed had Donald Trump in them with women. So are you saying that those are victims in those pictures, Department of Justice? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're telling us? As this cover-up continues, Donald Trump is trying to distract everybody by turning the United States into a pirate nation. Secretary Kristi Noem posted this in a pre-dawn action early this morning. On December 20th, the U.S. Coast Guard, with the support of the Department of War, apprehended an oil tanker that was last docked in Venezuela. The United States will continue to pursue the illicit movement of sanctioned oil that is used to fund narco-terrorism in the region. We will find you and we will stop you. And Pete Hegseth retweeted her saying, President Trump has been clear. The blockade of sanctioned oil tankers departing from or bound for Venezuela will remain in full force until Maduro's criminal enterprise returns every stolen American asset. So for Pete Hegseth, it's not so much about the oil going to fund terrorism. He is literally blockading oil in an attempt to get Maduro to return stolen American assets, which they made up in their head because they claim that Venezuela stole land from the United States. The Department of War, with our partners at USCG, will unflinchingly conduct maritime interdiction operations throughout Operation Southern Spear to dismantle illicit criminal networks. Violence, drugs, and chaos will not control the Western Hemisphere. Pete, violence, drugs, and chaos control the Western Hemisphere right now. You are an alcoholic that is just bombing fishermen. It is complete chaos, and hundreds of people are dying, not only from the bombs, but from Kristi Noem rounding people up and torturing them. A Bulgarian immigrant in his 50s died in U.S. custody the other day. Chicago man from Bulgaria dies in ICE custody in Michigan. Nanko Stanavganchev, 56, died December 15th in an ICE detention center in Michigan after being arrested locally in September. He lived in the Chicago area for 30 years and was a business owner. This man was younger than me when he came to the United States, and he started a business. He's probably got a family. And they kidnapped him and tortured him to the point of death. And Kristi Noem and DHS will claim that it was out of their hands, they had nothing to do with it. But we know that they are denying medical care to these people. We know that they are putting them in unlivable conditions. And we know that sometimes they send them to foreign gulags ran by psychopath dictators. But they don't want us to know this because yesterday or the day before, CBS announced that they were canceling their documentary about called Inside CCOT. This was a documentary they've been working on for months about the people being kidnapped and sent to CCOT, the terrorist prison in El Salvador. And this guy, Dylan Byers, journalist, he's been following this story and getting all kinds of sources that are basically telling him, yeah, Bari Weiss, the new editor-in-chief, nixed the whole thing. The journalists that worked on this documentary are pissed because they went through rigorous fact-checking and legal. This documentary was factual, but Bari Weiss and the new 60 Minutes fascists don't like it because Donald Trump didn't get a chance to speak because the White House refused to comment, which basically means now that the White House can just refuse to comment on anything, and 60 Minutes and other bootlicking media outlets will just be like, well, we can't report on this story because the White House hasn't given their side. And I can tell you right here, the White House's side is evil, it's lies, and it's violence and chaos and drugs. Maybe you should go deal with that, Pete Hegseth. Also, the State Department posted this beautiful Christmas message today. Merry early Christmas. Visas revoked by the State Department in 2025. Over 8,000 international students. 8,000 students who came here to study had their visas revoked and were ripped out of this country, a place that promised them a good education and a potential future, a place where they could have thrived and been a net benefit to the United States. Instead, they are ripped away and sent back to whatever country they came from. If they're lucky, they're sent back to their country. What else is going on? Oh yeah, this came out today. President Donald Trump late Saturday denied Colorado's request for disaster relief funding following the Elk and Lee fires and Western Slope flooding this summer. Colorado got blasted with floods, and Trump is just refusing to send them funds. Trump rejects Colorado's bid for federal disaster relief after fires and flooding. Remember last year when Republicans were claiming that Biden was directing FEMA to ignore houses that had Trump flags in front of them? Well, that wasn't true because that's fucking stupid, but this is actually happening. He's denying them flood relief because he tried to pardon Tina Peters, who tried to steal the 2020 election, but he can't pardon her because she got charged on state charges. So he's mad at Governor Polis, he's mad at Colorado for not releasing a freaking terrorist, so he's denying their funding. They went through a national disaster, and he's just like, no, you don't get any money. Why are any of the blue states still paying federal taxes at this point? Speaking of federal taxes, apparently our federal taxes are going to give immigrants a $3,000 Christmas bonus so that they will leave the country. Here's Kristi Noem blabbering about it. My guess is that $3,000 isn't going to immigrants, but it's going directly into her face injections.
For the holidays season, so not only are we returning those kiddos back to their families that Biden lost, we also are saying that if you voluntarily want to go home now to your country, if you're in this United States of America illegally, we will give you $3,000 through the holidays to send you home. We'll buy you a ticket, give you $3,000 to go home, and that includes people that have not been detained, maybe have interacted with us, are detained and don't have criminal charges against them. Raise your hand. We'll help you get home. We'll facilitate it, and you might get the chance to come back to this country the right way someday. If you wait until we interdict you and detain you and arrest you and have to deport you ourselves, you'll never get the chance to come back. So,
first of all, you are not returning children to anybody. You are separating children from their mothers while you detain, kidnap, and torture them. Mid-state mom detained by ICE claims newborn taken away by DCS. This woman was forced to give birth while in ICE custody, and they took her newborn child away. And now the state is debating what the best option is for this child. So no, Kristi Noem, you are not reuniting kiddos with their families. You are quite literally ripping newborn babies away from their mothers. And while our tax dollars are going to fund the torture and detainment of migrants, Donald Trump is back to threatening war with Greenland and Denmark. I am pleased to announce that I am appointing the great governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, as United States Special Envoy to Greenland. Jeff understands how essential Greenland is to our national security and will strongly advance our country's interests for the safety, security, and survival of our allies, and indeed, the world. Congratulations, Jeff. And Jeff says, thank you, real Donald Trump. It's an honor to serve you in this volunteer position to make Greenland a part of the U.S. This in no way affects my position as governor of Louisiana. They're threatening war with Venezuela. They're stealing oil tankers from Venezuela. We're threatening war with Greenland again. And Jeff Landry, the governor of one of the most failed states in the United States, is going to be the special envoy in charge of storming the beaches of Greenland. Europe is pissed about this, by the way. Like, our former allies are terrified and angry with us. We are threatening war. We're threatening to take their countries. The German ambassador for Greenland had this to say.
Nehmen wir zur Kenntnis und unsere Position als Bundesregierung hat sich auch dahingehend gar nicht geändert. Die Zukunft Grönlands liegt in den Händen der Grönländerinnen und Grönländer und die territoriale Integrität des Königreichs Dänemark, wo Grönland ein autonomer Teil dieses Königreichs ist, genauso wie die Färöer, ist unbestritten.
He's doing this, by the way, to impress his friends, the Russians, who are in Miami right now, while he is in Palm Beach, Florida. It's his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, saying, over the last 2 days in Florida, the Russian special envoy held productive and constructive meetings with the American delegation to advance President Trump's peace plan on Ukraine. He also uses Russian language by calling it the Ukrainian conflict. Trump is flailing and escalating everything. It's a lot to cover, so thanks for watching.
It's been many years since the Epstein story and the Epstein case came to light, and many victims have come forward to narrate the terrible things that they went through. And for this reason, all American citizens, and for once in history, the American citizens were united to demand for justice, including the release of the Epstein files. Within these files, we expected that we would see names, we would see images, we would see evidence of people involved and exactly what they put innocent people through. We expected a lot from these files, and for many years the American people have demanded justice. For many years they've requested and demanded that these files be released for public view. And amongst Donald Trump's campaign points, he promised that he would. But for so many times that we've pressed that he release these files, he's always found a way of not wanting to release them. It has been so serious that he had to be forced to release them. And upon being forced, he had to come up with ways of ensuring that this file, in as much as they were exposed and released, people wouldn't get anything from the files. How do you expose files that are heavily redacted? Files that the entire pages are black. How do you call a black page? That's totally a blank page. What's the difference between a clearly white paper and a black paper with white edges? It's just a black paper. There's no information within it. And these are the things that we've seen Donald Trump do. He's released the files, but within those files, there is a lot of reduction. To make matters worse, Trump's administration has been caught red-handed trying to cover up images that involve Donald Trump. They've been caught red-handed deleting files with images of Donald Trump and the beasts that were involved in these atrocious acts. Additionally, we've seen the Trump's government trying to evade this topic at all costs. Initially in June, while this topic was really hot in the United States, he found ways of not indulging in these discussions. This time that he was pushed to the wall and had to release the files, he's still finding ways of ensuring that Americans are distracted and don't concentrate on the serious issue at hand. Some of the ways that he's used to divert attention from this issue are a lot. Since before and after the release of these files, Donald Trump has been the hot topic on a daily. One, Donald Trump has always come up with stories. He came up with a press release in which he said nothing. Completely nothing. Donald Trump claimed he's worked ways of reducing the cost of gas, which is a blatant lie. He also said he's found a way of reducing the price of medicine, drugs, by 300, 400, 200%, which is also a blatant lie. Everybody knows the cost of health in the United States currently is very high. And there is no way the cost of health will be that high when the cost of medication is low. The other time he came up with a phrase, groceries. How is it that a superpower country president is concerned with the word groceries instead of catering to the needs of his people? Donald Trump has come up with many other ways of not addressing the issue at hand, which is the Epstein case files, in which he is individually and particularly implicated. Donald Trump has of late come up with, which is very interesting, he calls it the Patriot Games, a replica of the Hunger Games. He says annually there will be, it beats all logic. He'll come up with the Patriot Games in which individuals will volunteer to participate in, both ladies and men. But as we know, Donald Trump has always said, and often is against the black community. He's always against the other ethnic community within the United States, except for the white people. And I'm just wondering if for these particular games, we'd expect that only the white people that he deems rightfully American will have to participate in them. It's very absurd, and we are really watching to see if it's only these people will have the opportunity to participate. As for me, I'd advise the black community and the black Americans, including the Asians and even the Somalis, to take a backseat and watch while the Americans indulge in American affairs, considering we as the black community are seen as less American. Additionally, Donald Trump has come up with other ways of diverting attention on the main issue of concern. He's had claims, the Venezuelan case, where he claims Venezuela is American, that this land was stolen from the United States of America. And with regard to Venezuela, he said a lot that doesn't make any sense can't make sense to any logical human being. Additionally, Donald Trump has come up with extra visa bans and restrictions, which is very alarming, to say the least. These bans and restrictions is added a lot of other countries to the list of those who are banned either partially or fully for immigration visas. But if you look at this keenly, he's added more African countries to this list. Countries that were initially on the partial ban, like Nigeria, are now put to the complete ban category. He's banned countries like Nigeria, Senegal, Republic of Congo. He's banned Rwanda. He's banned Tanzania. He's banned Burkina Faso. He's also banned Niger. He's banned Mali. He's banned a lot of the countries from Africa. And particularly what triggers my curiosity is the ban on Burkina Faso and Niger. These are countries that are waking up and are truly against Donald Trump's administration and the white colonial rule on African countries. These are countries that have blatantly told off the US, and to be specific, Burkina Faso is working in alliance with Russia. And this can't be good for Trump. We all know it. That was really expected of him. I wouldn't have expected any less. I would have been even more surprised if this list came out without Burkina Faso being banned. Additionally, we see that Donald Trump has come up with very many other means of neglecting this serious topic. You know, for the bans, he states that the bans are because these countries to which he's imposing these serious bans have a tendency for their citizens to stay longer than they are supposed to on tourist visas. that people from this country extend their travel visa period illegally, meaning he's claiming these people stay within the United States of America illegally for extended periods of time. But is it true that it's only most African countries that overstay? I'll read some facts to put this into context, because that's a blatant lie. Nationals from the Pacific Island nation of Tonga should be banned for immigration to the United States of America because 6.5% of its nationals overstayed tourist visas, and 14.4% of its nationals overstayed students or exchange visitor visas. Yet, those rates are broadly comparable to multiple other countries which are not subject to restrictions, including Armenia, which has 6.3% tourist visa overstay. Family, what do you think about all this? Can't you see the trend that all that Trump is doing is distracting Americans from asking the right questions with regard to the Epstein files? Ever since the files were released, just slightly before they were released, and ever since they were released, Trump is blabbing all over the internet without break. He always has something to say. He wants us to think and talk about things that are necessary. Yet, the big question is, what is Trump hiding, and who is Trump protecting in the Epstein files? Who is he protecting? Of course, we know he's protecting himself, but who are the other individuals that he's protecting within those files? If you found this content interesting, kindly subscribe to my channel, share and like. Also leave comments in my comment section. I'll respond to each and every of those comments. I'll get back to you people. I love you, and just support me. That's the least you can do. Subscribe, like and share. Till next time, goodbye.